Thanks. Interesting. Well, our music is not acting the same way it should. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here.
And I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Our music is not acting the way it should act.
No, you got your sound effects going over it.
Well, who knows? Who knows? This is. It's not acting the way it should be acting, but that's okay.
Very loud.
You got a pause button on there. It looks like
I do have a pause. I did have
go.
the pause. Yeah, it was who knows? It's not acting right. But anyway, we're on for the night, and so far we've climbed. Last time I checked, you guys, we're up to about 113 subscribers. And
God is good. God is good. Thank you for your subscriptions, folks. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're a grassroots musicians promoting station here. Happy President's Day to everybody. It's a rocket ride for 2022. Welcome, AJ Romo.
Hello, Mr. Allen.
How you doing? It's been a little while. How you been?
Been a while, yeah. Been good. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. Happy late New Year. I don't know that we've had you on since the New Year's.
No, I don't think I've been on since then. Yep. Happy New Year to you guys too.
Oh, definitely. Well,
we have a packed show tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about our one of our arguably better presidents back in history. People might have heard of him. His name's John F. Kennedy. Throughout the show, we'll be visiting a few fun facts that maybe people don't know. So do stay tuned. We're going to intersperse them throughout the show.
Right.
Well, good.
Now, also, want to let people know that they can go to paypal.me/Innervision Denver, and we just decided, we just had donate anything. But I said, well, why don't we make it more specific? So you could donate at the lowest level there, the $5.99, and then at our highest level or even higher than that. But I suggest a level at like $15.95 or $99. We figure since a lot of people are making $16 an hour, why not? Why not us? And it really helps with some of the things. I'm working on some other sponsors to the show, and it's slow going, but it's happening.
We definitely want to shout out to Christian Brothers Moving Company.
Oh, yes.
Helped us out quite a bit. So if you want to become a sponsor, or you just want to become involved with our little project here, hit us up at info@innervisionfm.com. And in the subject line, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. All right. So tonight, I counted, we have about 6 topics. So
we can hit it.
Oh, yeah. So when I was talking to you last week, Tony, I kept thinking why are used cars selling for more than what you probably bought it for? And and you had some thoughts on that topic.
Yeah, particularly pickup trucks or SUVs, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
And the reason for that is because what has happened to the new trucks, they are not able to operate. The new trucks don't run without that special chip that's made in China. And so there could be a billion chips sitting on cargo ships sitting in the ocean waiting to get over here, but they can't. That's one thing. Or China's not making them. Maybe they're holding America hostage, not making the chip. But in any event, there are no chips for these new vehicles. So the new vehicles aren't selling. So if there's no new vehicles, what's the next best thing? Of course, the used vehicle. And that makes that it's a supply and demand issue. When there's, little supply and the demand is high, the prices just skyrocket. You put that same philosophy on houses and anything else too. But yeah, that's the basis of it right there. It's just used cars cannot be sold. I've saw pictures, and we have some private land over here in the Houston area where it's just acres and acres and acres and acres and acres of brand new vehicles, mostly pickup trucks, but brand new vehicles sitting there, and they're doing nothing because they can't drive them. They can't even drive them. They're not startable without the chip.
The last time I can remember having like close to a deal, it was my first wife when I got married, and her brother had got a DUI, and so he couldn't drive, so he wanted to sell his Bronco for $700.
Yeah,
this Bronco was like maybe a year old.
Yeah, wow.
And I said, what a deal. But I didn't have $700 at the time, so
you know how much
passed
a new
it up.
truck, how much a new truck is selling for now. They're 50, 60 grand.
Wow.
And so I got a friend that has a 2010 Chevy Silverado with very low miles and in really good condition. And he wants 25 grand for it, a 2010 model.
Yeah.
So that's pretty comparable to what these, at least over here, vehicles are selling for. I'm assuming they're selling for even more in Colorado because of the snow, the four-wheel drive aspect of it.
So if I tell the audience, we do accept donations of cars, boats, RVs. We might not even get any because people are holding onto those old cars because that's the only vehicle they can use right now.
Yeah. And you can throw out the book value, whatever, people go online and say, well, what's the blue book value of it? Throw the blue book out because the blue book doesn't matter right now on used cars.
No, so it's once again, it's a buyer's market. So, things are really upside down. I mean, like I said, in 79, the last time we had this kind of crazy inflation, I was just a kid at the time. And I guess I really didn't think about it because I was living with my parents and they were doing the brunt of the bill. No, well, let's see, I was not. No, I think I had a job and I was moving towards moving out and so forth. Yeah. But because I didn't drive a car, or anything like that, it wasn't bothering me. I just jump on a bus, have my bus pass, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it was like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're younger than, or if you were born in 1980 or 90, none of this stuff is going to even reflect. And on the news, they only go back they go back to 1982 or 1981 when we're coming out of the recession that Jimmy Carter started.
Yeah, now this is an interesting thing, you guys, because back in the 70s when you were going through your formative years, your teenage years, I was just a young kid. And so I remember from my grandparents hearing about the 25-cent gas price, 25 cents. And of course, they were only 50 cents a gallon, even though the lines were long in those days and stuff, and they did ration odd even numbers and all kinds
Yeah,
of stuff.
I was there. Yeah.
Oh man, that was some crazy stuff. But I remember it. I mean, I remember very well when these things started getting lifted. But you're absolutely right, Johnny, and you're absolutely right, Tony, as well. I'll tell you, the times have changed. Interesting thing to note: Chevy and Ford are really going after the used car market. I've got a buddy that works in car auctions and things like this, and so he's pretty privy to certain things that go on with the automobile industry, especially these days, because of the chip shortage, because of the well, uncertainty throughout the whole global region when it comes to everything and anything. It man, it's like nothing we've ever seen. Inflation at 40-year highs and things. It's
Yeah.
wow.
Now,
I still see an awful lot of people though buying a brand new car,
Mhm.
buying new cars. They're whatever it is they're buying, they're very new or very relatively new. I see them every day because you could tell by the sticker that you gotta, when you buy a new car, you gotta have a sticker on there. And you consider the gas prices with what's happened with the gas prices there. But like Colorado, I think over there when you buy a license plate for a vehicle, it's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
because of all the fees.
Yeah,
It's
and over here it's 78
$80.
bucks.
Yeah.
78
Yeah.
bucks to get your license plates every year. Doesn't change no matter what, how many times you get it.
Now,
Wow.
and if you guys remember, Gerardo Herrera, I guess his daughter had just turned 16, and he was gonna buy her a new car, but he, having the kind of money he has, even he had to wait 6 months
Yeah.
to get his car.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw it online, but there's a cargo ship, or was a cargo ship, out in the middle of the ocean with multi-million-dollar automobiles on it, on fire.
Oh man, what a waste! What a waste!
Yeah, it was gone. It's gone.
Now, speaking of
John,
high prices, what?
oh,
Go ahead. No,
No,
just speaking of higher prices. Okay, the housing market. Now, I heard something, and I'm not actually sure about exactly what this was, but I guess this developer bought a bunch of these houses that you fix them up, but they overbought in the market, and now
Zillow.
they need to get rid of them.
Zillow did it.
Yeah.
Zillow went out and just started overpaying for houses and thinking that they were, actually they've been making a killing on it, but they got caught a little bit, but the market didn't drop like they thought it was going to. And it's just still booming, still hot. I know firsthand because I'm in the process of selling mine here in Houston.
Right.
And in the 4.5 years we've lived here, we're going to walk away with 100,000 just from profit, from the value, increase in value of the property itself. But at the same time, I'm trying to buy a place in the mountains in Colorado.
Right.
And it's a difficult time there. There's just see what you were talking about earlier, Johnny, it's not a buyer's market, it's a seller's market.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because the seller can get what they want when there's no inventory. And that's the way it is on the houses, especially in Colorado. There's no inventory. So the houses are jumping sky high, but there are experts who are starting to call this a potential bubble. And that bubble's about ready to break. So, if the bubble breaks, it's going to break for everybody. My wife keeps telling me, well, if we sell ours and we buy a house in Colorado and it's expensive, and then all of a sudden the house price drops, then what? We're stuck. Well, we're stuck here too, because if it breaks there, it breaks here. We'll lose it all here too. So
yeah, and just to give it because the house that my parents got, I think it was made in 1945.
Yeah.
Then they bought it for $47,000.
Uh-huh.
They paid it off in the 80s, and now a few years ago the house was worth 350,000, but now I guess you looked at the area now, and I guess it's now worth like 600,000.
Right.
And I said, wow,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
yeah. So my brother, my two brothers, and my sister are living there. They wanted me to move back. They said, hey, free rent. I said, there's no free rent. I mean, you're gonna be paying taxes, but like I said, I don't know. It seems like that's a lot of grown people in one house, even though it's 4 bedrooms. I just said, no, I'm gonna stay here.
Your wife probably won't like that.
Well, yeah, she says we should have just went to the meeting and talked. But I don't know, because I don't know if because my one brother, he sold his house and then he put $79,000 to refurbish it, and they did something that I wish they would have did when it was 4 people there. We only used to have 1 bathroom, and my wife says, "How did you guys live with 4 people?" Well, see, my mother, my dad, my sister had her own room. Then us brothers, it was 4 of us, like down splitting up a room. How did you guys live with just 1 bathroom?
Yeah.
And I said, well, somehow we did it, but now they put in, my other brother, who's a little bit older than me, he spent $5,000 and finally put a bathroom in the basement.
In the basement, yeah.
So I don't know. We just did it. It's like
Interesting thing that you bring up things like that. Basements aren't even a common thing in all parts of the country.
No.
Basements are something that are a luxury in a way, because boy, especially in the hotter parts of the country and stuff, boy, you would think, man, they'd have basements all the time. That's just not the case, man.
Yeah.
Texas, Louisiana, Tennessee, well, especially there ain't no basements in Louisiana.
Texas either, I don't think.
Not too many. Not too many.
Yeah.
And we went to those things where, my mother, she had put bars on the window. I said, and I guess that was a thing back in, I don't know, the 70s or yeah. And I said, man, that is dangerous. Like, because I never thought, like, well, if there's ever is like a gas burst or fire or whatever, how and nobody ever told me, like, because I used to climb out my windows all the time and sneak out of the house when I was a teenager. and because I was slender, I was really slender back then. I think I weighed about like 135. And so, but when she put the bars in, it was like, that was a little bit after I didn't have to sneak out the house anymore. But I just thought, like, that was just kind of dangerous. And I don't think they have the bars in the house anymore, but I just thought, I don't know.
They probably didn't need a lot of bars for crime purposes back then, but you see houses today, they don't have bars and their crime is rampant.
Well, that is something that in John F. Kennedy's day was never, ever really as big a problem as it is nowadays, crime-wise. You had your crime, but it was organized crime, as it were.
Yeah.
And there was more honor back in those days. There was some really interesting stuff. This being President's Day, you sent me an email the other day, and there was some stuff in there that I hadn't known. Things like, let's see here. Gosh, there's lots of facts in there. Do you have that email?
Yes, yes, I do. And Tony, I sent it to you too. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see it.
Yeah, okay, so I don't want to give away all of it. I just want to do like parts and pieces of it. So it says, explain this if you can. Okay, Abraham Lincoln was elected as president in 1846. John F. Kennedy was elected to the Senate in 1946. That's
a difference right there. It's just
okay. Congress, yeah. Well, not the Senate, the Congress. And then Abraham Lincoln was elected as president in 1860. And then John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. And then, and both of them was concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost one of their childs while living in the White House.
Yeah, that was something I didn't know. I knew about Lincoln losing somebody in the White House. It's what drove Mary Lincoln kind of off
Kind
the
of
rest.
bonker.
I mean, she was already bonkers, as it were, and so it sort of drove her the rest of the way off.
Yeah, I
But,
didn't know that one either.
uh,
Oh, and then both presidents was shot on a Friday.
that's interesting,
Yeah, and so and then, well, both presidents were shot in the head. That's only obvious right there. Okay,
right?
and then okay, now I was gonna say now it gets weird. Now, okay, all that stuff wasn't weird enough.
Right?
Okay, Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy, and Kennedy secretary last name was
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
is this? Have you heard this? I mean, is this true?
Yeah, I've heard it. I know it is. Yeah.
But some of the, like I said, the child being, the two children being lost in the White House and that. No, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, it's almost like is life. You ever think like is life predestined? And the only reason that we don't know if something happened before 100 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
that it's just a repeat. But because
Yeah.
I know certain people, we as a people, we repeat because people are very predictable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so certain things will happen again, and because people don't study history and they don't build upon that, certain things can happen again and again. Now it says a southerner assassinated both Kennedy and Lincoln.
Yeah. Because you had John Wilkes Booth do Lincoln in, and he was definitely a Southerner through and through, boy. Lots of history with John Wilkes Booth, as well Lee Harvey Oswald. There's history behind all these guys and the connections, and just wow.
Yeah. And then also both vice presidents was Johnson, and I can't remember the name of the abolition. It was a black guy that he bought his freedom, and he said when he met Lincoln, he said he knew that Lincoln was a sincere and caring person, but when he met the vice president, he knew that this guy had a heart, had an evil heart. And I'm thinking, and I didn't think about this. Lyndon Johnson probably wouldn't have signed that civil rights thing, but something a creation had come into being called television.
Right.
And so the camera guys went down there and started filming this. Now, back in the times when Lincoln was around, there was no television, all right? So when they did the trying to bring the blacks ahead, and then they made a deal, and then they just say, hey, throw that out the window. Television wasn't there.
That's a very good point.
Yeah,
because there wasn't, I mean, it's almost as if there was more freedom of the press back in the day, but there wasn't enough coverage back in the day to pull it off. And so those that didn't want all this abolitionist stuff to go forward, why, they were able to kind of squash it maybe a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
And because of because I remember the funeral, it's really weird. I remember exactly what my mother was wearing. She's because it was one of this. She always wore this really flowery type of thing when she was doing housework, with a hair scarf around her head. And I remember we were watching on the TV the funeral of Kennedy, and I didn't really understand it, but I remember exactly what she was wearing the day we were watching the funeral in November. I don't know why I was home, because maybe they let kids out of school for that day, because
Sure.
it was such a big event kind of thing. But it's just weird. certain things that you remember, but you don't remember the whole thing. And at the time I had 20/20 vision. So it's just weird that I don't remember anything about what I was wearing. And so anyway, and then before we get to the last part of that, it was some of the stuff. I'm gonna go back up to okay. Let's talk a little Broncos.
Okay.
So this one is like, who do you think like was the best GM? Which, you know, I'm not the most educated in football and stuff like that. And as you understand, like there's 7 siblings, and for some reason they can't make up and keep that team, which would have been like that's still like generational.
Well, man, it's a money maker. I mean, it's a money maker. Why not just hang on to it?
Right.
You know what? Put your differences aside and get along, and just manage the team as a family business.
It's pride. Pride won't allow people to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, you know, Jesus Christ is so important in my mind anyway. It's a way of living. It's a relationship. You can have a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that spills over into everything else, boy. And I don't know.
But one of the brothers, which he calls himself the blood of the city, because, you know, he was related to the dad and everything like that.
Sure.
I just don't see him. I mean, he's just been like a troubled, probably young man, and probably still a troubled older man now. And I wonder if there's any bets on how long would it take for him to sift through that money. Because one thing you could say, if money's not coming in and you don't know how to invest, or you don't know how to manage the money that you have, and you know, daddy, well, I never had this where daddy's giving, you know, daddy said, go out and get a job. And daddy's always giving it to you. How many years do you think it will last before, like a lot of the basketball players, I mean, because they don't teach money management, football players, same thing. When they retire at that early age, because, you know, your body can only do so much. I was going to think, how long would that, and it's a lot of money, $several million.
Billion. They're going to sell for 4 point something billion, right?
Yeah. And then they split it up 7 ways.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking, how long is that money going to last? Especially with the one that is always getting into car crashes and drinking and stuff like that. And I had a friend that her sister was very heavy. They were both drinkers. So when the mother died, she left them all $35,000 a piece. It was 4 sisters. Now 2 sisters, they knew what to do with the money. They were married and but the other 2 were living with the mother. And I kept telling them, I said, you guys, it was 2 sisters and a daughter, and they were all of age. I said, go out and get a job. You could pay the taxes for the house. And they lost the house. The one sister, she drank herself to death because she had all this money. And her attitude was very bad. So she didn't have that many friends. So, you know, she just bought liquor. The other one, she bought her boyfriend motorcycles, which he's now living in my building. And he used to live with his mother, and he lost that house, and and who knows where the motorcycle went. He probably sold it for alcohol or whatever. But you see people that come into, you know, some people say, oh, $35,000, that's not a lot of money. It could be.
Yeah, back then it was probably.
Yeah. This happened like maybe probably a little less than 20. Yeah, about 18 years ago. Yeah. So, you know, 35,000 if you could, you know, invest in it.
A house sold for $130,000 or a townhome or something like that sold for $130,000 about 18, 20 years ago. And they now are going for, gosh, $500,000 in some cases. Wow.
Yeah, and me and Wayne, we were like in the 80s. No, I think it was like the 90s. We saw this house on Colfax. It was $20,000. And we should have bought that because we were going to have make it
sure
into a
enough.
recording studio.
Oh,
And
sure enough.
and I could kick myself. I said, why didn't we get that deal? Because now it's worth more. But you know, I kept wondering, like, well, I wonder what goes on in that neighborhood after dark for it to be only $20,000. And so I'm looking at the blood of the city. The one brother. I don't know too much about the other ones because they sort of like kept them pretty much hush hush about things that they do. But I don't know. I wish everybody well, but I just have learned one thing: when money is going out faster than it's coming in, it's not going to last too long. And it could be 80,000 or it could be several $1 million. And we see it in the lotto all the time.
Absolutely.
You've got some potentially really good owners who are wanting to buy the Broncos.
Yeah.
You've got not only John Elway, who
Elway, of course.
I would say absolutely do not let him buy the Broncos because he ruined them as a general manager.
Oh, Elway?
Yeah, he ruined the Broncos as a general manager, not as an owner, but a general manager is the one who goes out and seeks and signs contracts with the players. But you've got Peyton Manning, his interest, and I'd love to see him buy him. And then you've got I don't remember who the other guy you were talking about.
Byron Allen, comedian. He was a very young comedian. He was the youngest guy to ever.
But he doesn't
go Johnny Carson.
He doesn't want to buy them, but the NFL wants him to buy them because he's black.
Well,
yeah. That's the only reason they want him to buy him is because he's black, because they're pushing the fact that they want to have a black, another or a black owner because of what the quarterback in Miami was accusing the NFL of racism or whatever he was accusing them of.
Yeah. Well, in this day and age where there's got to be a feather in the cap always, it's always best to put the feather in the cap where it ought to belong. And the glory goes to Jesus Christ anyway. And I think Tim Tebow, I think he was a rising star. And one of the reasons why he's not around so much anymore is because he stood so strong for things like Christ and his morals. And that way.
Years ago, I said when they fired Tim Tebow for his ethics, I stepped out and said the Broncos will have extremely bad luck at the quarterback position for years. And I was telling Johnny since Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah, I liked him.
Other than Peyton Manning, they've went through Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch,
absolutely,
Keenum, Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, Bryant Ripien, Bill Hinton, and those are just quarterbacks that they. What's that?
It's just, and you just rattle them off,
man. It was Elway's decision to bring all them guys in, thinking they were the best quarterbacks since him. Now, that's not the bad part about John Elway as a general manager. The bad part about John Elway as a general manager is that he brought in and refused to sign people like Patrick Mahomes, superstar Kansas City Chief, Jason, what's this guy? Josh Allen, superstar Buffalo Bills, the guy from Seattle, Russ Wilson, a few years back, brought him in, refused to sign him, superstar for Seattle Seahawks. He's had about 10 different superstars come through that he said weren't good enough for the Broncos, but yet they're superstars in the NFL. They're all pro, they'll be all NFL quarterbacks in their time, and 5 or 6 of them are superstars right now playing. And he turned them down.
So what do you think it is? I mean, is this just wasn't a good translation from playing the game to running the game for
I
Elway?
couldn't tell you. Well, see, I mean, Elway did good in other areas of the signing people. I mean, he absolutely bombed in many other places, but for the most part, I'd give him a below F grade as a general manager if you could get that low. But you know, I mean, I'm looking at the whole thing. There really wasn't too many people that he got signed except for Peyton Manning as a player. But Elway's problem was he just thought he knew everything. He thought, particularly with quarterbacks, he thought he was, you know, not only a good quarterback, which he was one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived.
Sure.
As a QB, but not in that other management position. That's why I'd hate to see him by the Broncos.
Yeah, because I remember when they won the first Super Bowl, and they were it wasn't the one where they were at the Civic Center Park, and it was just like a sea of orange shirts. It was this other one, and I don't know. I was listening to the team guys talk about, you know, what they do before a game, you know, and how they rub each other up, and it's almost like I don't know. It just seemed kind of like kind of plastic. And then when they won with the Manning, when they won the Super Bowl with them, I remember they had this event at the Civic Center Park, and it was like about 100,000 people.
Man, that was insane.
Yeah, like I said, it was just like it looked like a sea of orange there. And I don't know if because I live right down the street from the Civic Center Park, but I could hear it. And usually I go to Martin Luther King, and the largest group that we've ever had with is Martin Luther King was 40,000.
40,000.
But
yeah.
the biggest group, the second biggest group was, there was something happening where they were protesting some kind of something legal with Hispanic people, and it was 75,000 Spanish people went down to the Capitol.
Wow.
And it was like all these Spanish people were passing. Like it was like, because we no longer have those Burger King that used to be here that went out of business, and so then, and that was like several years before the Broncos won the big one. Then the 100,000 people. So I said, the things that get people to come out. But it was just interesting to see all those people, because, you know, Denver had won the game, and they came from all parts of Colorado down to the Civic Center, and that was when the Civic Center was safe. There's nothing like it is now.
Oh yeah, it's
we'll
different there now, Johnny.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and,
you live down there.
oh yeah. And now this lady, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow, but this lady, she wants you and me to pay for, I guess it's a drug that if somebody shot themselves up and they're it's an overdose, you spray this in the nose and it brings them back. Now she wants all of us, not the policemen, but all of us to get and she says, free narc kit. And whenever you see a homeless person laid out and you think that they're in distress, use the narc kit. And I'm thinking, like, that's not my job. And you're taking it.
She wants all of us to run around with a kit to save the homeless from themselves.
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. It's like only in, well, I guess it's been happening in Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver, I guess, there's another place where they have just shooting galleries and stuff like that. And she says, well, until we can get the safe shooting alleys, we're all going to have to step up and carry this little pouches, and it's free. I said, nothing's free if the government is getting it and sending it to us. Oh, and then they're going to have the drug testing thing where you can test your drugs to see if it's pure fentanyl or something else is mixed in there.
You guys just had 5 people die in Commerce City for fentanyl.
Oh, yeah. At first they just said, like, we don't know what happened, but
yeah.
Yeah, we know what happened.
Commerce City, wasn't it? Just
Yep,
today,
Commerce
yesterday?
City. Yep, yep. It was 6 people and a child. I'm not sure why a child was in that atmosphere, but
Tell you what,
but anyway, I mean,
I've spent years living off the grid. I've spent, and all this stuff. So maybe I'm kind of dumb, but man, 20 years ago, would this have happened? Would this have even been allowed?
no.
What? Why is it being allowed now?
Source money has come into Colorado, and he's really push a lot of money. A lot of outside money is pushing in these guys that have these far left wing crazy ideals. And Denver's like it's like an experimental place. There's other places too, but Denver, it seems like they try it out in California, then they push it over to Denver, and then if it works in Denver, then they push it out. And that's it seems like, yeah.
What I don't understand is why are they killing their voters?
I don't know about the homeless people voting. I think they're too busy.
Oh, they'll pick them up and they'll take them down and they'll bring them and have them sign the paper that votes for a Democrat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, now they're trying to circumvent that with the drug kids. So okay, gas prices. A year ago, gas prices were $1.87. Now the gas prices are about $3.50, and sometimes some of these politicians say, "Well, we'll take 7 cents off. We'll reduce it by 7 cents," and they think they're giving us something,
right?
And because Keystone Pipeline was destroyed by that was killed by executive order by I don't think it was Biden. I think it was just whoever told him to do that, and then he opened up the pipeline for Russia to continue their pipeline, killed 50,000 of our jobs. And I want, do you ever want to? How do these people sleep at night, or
Where are we
they
getting our oil from?
Well, we're begging like these foreign people again.
And how do they ship it?
Well, probably in one of those ships that stuck out there.
And that's stuck out in the ocean.
So
it's probably sitting out in the ocean somewhere.
It's like a catch-22. And then he said, we're going to go into our reserves, but we only had enough reserves to last for 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like, sometimes I think I'm living in Twilight Zone, because I said, how can people be that stupid?
No, this is not stupid. This is by design. This is the enemy, and all we do is we do what we've always done in this case, and that's to pray, and that's to put on that armor of God, because that's the only thing going to get us through these days. This day and age is that armor.
Johnny, I have a quick question for you off your subject, but I'm curious on what your wife thinks about the Russia-Ukraine crisis.
Because this is something that's interesting.
Because Johnny's wife is from Russia. See?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, wow. But you know what? I don't know. And then and then of course. Wait. Okay. What everybody? If you guys are looking for your precinct or whatever, there's this great new website called Precinct Strategy. And I started around the 3rd of February to try to find where my precinct was. I went on this website, and it is very, very good. So I put it in the subject line down there. So precinctstrategy.com. And
don't forget to get involved at the local, state, and federal levels, and Precinct Strategy can help.
Oh, definitely. So if you want to fill some of the positions in your caucus or whatever, they give you some really good instructions. So shall we finish off the president story?
We may as well off John F. Kennedy. There are a few fun facts that people might get a kick out, especially the last.
Okay, so this one. Okay. Okay, so we got the both Kennedy, both presidents was succeeded by Southerners, Andrew Johnson, and then Lyndon B. Johnson, and they were probably born in the same 19. Okay, now one was born. Johnson was born in 1908, and the other guy was born in 1808.
Yeah,
Man, wow. Okay.
a lot of serendipity.
So, and then even the assassins, they were born at like around the same time period. And both assassins were known by their three names.
Right. John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald.
And both
Yeah.
names are considered with 15 letters in the name.
That's fascinating, man. If you get into numerology, man, if you check that out, that's pretty intense, man, that they each had 15 letters in their names.
Okay. Now, Lincoln was shot in a theater called Ford.
Right.
Kennedy-
He was at Ford Theater.
and then John Kennedy was made by a car made by Lincoln.
That's
Oh,
fascinating.
Lincoln, but it was made by Ford. All right.
Interesting.
I don't know. They said about the one of the assassins went into a warehouse. Oh, yeah, and the assassin for Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and then he ran and hid in a theater.
Right.
And both of those guys were both assassinated before going to trial.
Yeah, now that is fascinating. That is fascinating. You know, it gives a lot of credence to some of these tinfoil hat wearing folks, and they're like, man, there's got to be something behind that they each got assassinated before they got to have a fair and trial.
Now, some people said because Robert Kennedy got hard, the gangsters, because the dad was involved with it, and
Right.
and Frank Sinatra helped with that, down in Chicago, because he wasn't getting any votes. Some people say that the gangsters put a hit on him.
Right.
So I don't know how that goes in the mix with Lincoln. But then the last part, let's say, a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland, and then a week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe.
It was fun. Sort of end the show with, ladies and gentlemen, we got a concert coming up at the Roxy Theater in beautiful downtown Denver, Colorado on the 24th.
Yeah, it's at the Roxy Theater from 7 to 11. I guess because COVID only comes out after 11, so they're closing the place up early. They do kind of like funny songs a lot. A lot of the skits, they do a lot of funny skits and so forth. So they are selling tickets pretty well. So if you're into hip hop but funny hip hop, I saw it was another guy that he does hip hop. I'm not exactly sure about him, but I know he does. And then there's a female singer, and then I think there's another artist which is like a singer songwriter. So that's going to be this coming Thursday. So if you're in the Colorado area, or if you want to go to the after party, there are tickets on our website, innervisionrecords.org. That's innervisionrecords.org. And you can, go check that out. Just one of many concerts. And we're probably going to be doing one in April with a group that Alan knows.
Right.
So we'll let you know when that comes up. And then we're going to be doing another one on the 16th. It's a Christian contemporary concert at this church in Aurora. And we'll be, as we get more information about that, we'll let you know about that. We were going to be like a free event, but they're charging us for the rental of the place. And so we figure, well, we got to do some tickets, but the place can hold 600 people. So
We'll see what we can get done.
Yeah,
It's big of a deal.
yeah. So Tony, hey, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Tony. And
You're
it's been
welcome.
a time, man. It's always good to talk with you, sir.
You too, guys.
Oh yeah.
God
So
bless
we'll-
everybody.
All right. God bless you. Ah. Mhm.